Hello, listeners. You are listening to the Film Society at Sam Houston State University's Film Podcast. And yes, we are still working on that title. I am Jason Smith.
And I'm Allie.
And today we have... This will be a short episode. We have a few things to talk about, but nothing that'll keep you here too long. So we're going to be selling some trailers, talking DC news, a Willy Wonka origin story, and the opening week of Black Panther box office stuff. So, let's get started.
So we're going to kick off with the Incredibles trailer that dropped at on the Olympics on, what was it, like Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday.
A nice Valentine's Day gift for all those who didn't have one. So it released its extended look for Incredibles 2 that was Wednesday night, during NBC's coverage of the 2018 Winter Olympics, in which the much anticipated sequel, Helen, aka Alaska Girl, is called to lead a campaign to bring back supers, while Bob navigates the day-to-day life of normal life with Violet and Dash and baby Jack, whose powers are about to be discovered, and it hits theaters on June 15th.
Oh my gosh. I was so excited to see this trailer. The animation in it looks amazing. And a lot to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing Helen take on, we get to see her in action, and they're going to pick up right where they left off with the Underminer. I was like, oh boy, okay, all right, we get to see how this plays out. So that's going to be exciting. I'm excited to see what Helen does. I'm excited, really, just to see how Bob is handling, not just Jack. Everyone's excited about that. Oh, he has powers, but like, just the kids in general.
Mm-hmm.
Just that math scene with him and Dash, and then we haven't seen a lot of Violet, in it. So I'm excited to see what happens with her, that father-daughter relationship in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little worried. I know someone told me I have a habit of saying that. I'm really excited about this, but I'm also a little worried. Just because it seems like what we got with the trailer, that we're gonna get a possible replica of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Just the roles are swapped. It's Helen going out to be the superhero, and Bob's gonna stay at home with the kids now. Kind of like the first one. Bob went out, Helen stayed home. And that makes me worried because it's been 14 years now, and we've been waiting a really long time for this. And I know Brad Bird was talking, we want to have a story with these characters before we move on. We don't want to rush anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little worried about where they're going with this. And I feel that maybe they're just keeping some stuff from us. They're kind of just giving us like, hey, we're back, but they're keeping some stuff under wraps. And I really hope I'm right, because again, 14 years is a long time to wait for a sequel, especially something of this gravity,
That's true.
Yeah, so, but I am excited.
I mean, I think everyone's excited. Anyone our age or like around our age is super pumped for this movie, just because, it's 14 years, like you said. It's a long time to wait for a sequel that the first one leaves in like the open door to a sequel, yet we had to wait 14 years for that sequel. But like you said, I'm really excited to see like Helen go out and be the hero, because we saw a lot of Bob and his development in the first one, and we didn't see a lot of the kids and like what it was like for her to deal with all the kids. Like, you did have that scene in the car in the first one where they're talking about like, what it's like to be a super, and he's like it's hard to be a super, but you're trying to hide it. So that was the only kind of like mom, son, daughter thing that we got, besides the one where they're out, where they're in the plane and then they come down and then they're in the little campfire thing.
Yeah.
That's another moment. But like, other than that, there was no really like big like, family bonding moment. Not even with Bob himself either. So that's going to be exciting. I really like the women empowerment in this, because like Bob says something along the lines of like, if she succeeds, I succeed, so I have to succeed here. And I was like, that is beautiful. That's a beautiful line, and
just
it's
that moment. Yeah,
that feminism in that movie is going to come out really strong, and I really do like it.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, with the whole like, you know, the math scene with the kid, it's just like, it's perfect on what a dad is. Like I'm pretty sure this is going to relate to a lot of stay-at-home dads who are like trying to help their kids with the homework, and they're like, you're supposed to do it like this, and like, no, they want it to be done like this, and I'm like, that's not how I learned, though. How am I supposed to help you?
This isn't math.
But other than that, this trailer is like killing it. I really want to see. I don't want to see the villain, though. I'm like, I want to see the villain and like see what she's up against, but at the same time,
yeah, like let's keep it like. I hope they don't show too much. Like, just keep us on our toes. You gave us a little bit. You know, you're gonna get your money. We're gonna go see it. Just, you know, just kind of keep some things from us. Just say, hey, we're back, and we'll see you in June. So,
yeah, cool.
Totally.
So now we're moving on to buy or sell. It's a segment we do where we debate on whether we buy or sell these things. We throw some punches here and then, just in case, you know, to get our way. But we're going to buy or sell a few trailers that came out this past week. We didn't buy or sell the Incredibles trailer just because it's the Incredibles trailer. And obviously, that was an obvious buy.
Yeah, take my money, so, yeah.
So the ones that we're going to be talking about are Rampage, which was Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema released Rampage with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's latest action film. He reteams with his San Andreas director, Brad Payton, and it's supposed to be based on the classic video game of that franchise. So this is going to be like a video game, maybe like Tomb Raider, but in a video, in like it's Rampage.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the video game, but I've never played it, so I don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
But then this trailer of Rampage, I was just like, this could be interesting. This could be something that works. So, I mean, the problem I see is the fact that this actually comes out on 420. So this is going to be exciting to see some people.
Yeah.
We're not suggesting that you do said things on 420 and go see this movie, but, you know, do it with what you will. So, but yeah, like, the only thing that I see a problem is that, like, the fact that, okay, so The Rock has Rampage, and then a few weeks later, or a few months later, he has Skyfall. Or Skyfall? Skyscraper. Skyfall. Why did I think Skyfall?
Like,
he's not James Bond. He's not.
Okay.
No. But, and then I think he has, like, so many other movies lined up. Some are, like one after the other. So are we going to get, like, The Rock fatigue? Like, are we just going to get so tired of seeing him that we're just like, you know what? I can't go see another one of your movies because, you know, you bore me. But, again, The Rock just gives 110% in anything he does. And I actually really dig this idea on how they're bringing it into it. It's got its humor. It's also got like this video game-esque vibe, but I just don't know. I'm very, very iffy on buying it or selling it, so I'm just like in between. I'm browsing. I'll come back around to it, but it actually to me, it kind of looked like a little bit like Kong, like what we could be getting with Kong versus Godzilla in like 2020, which if it works out, it could actually be better than it, just because Kong Skull Island was such a forgettable movie in my opinion. So maybe this could be a little bit better than that. I don't know. What are you thinking?
Oh, what am I thinking? Oh, well, I'm not buying this at all. I would never buy it. Something like this, and like you said, it's nothing against Dwayne. It's nothing against the director. It's just, why are we making movies based on video games? I think, granted, they're running out of stuff. How? I don't know. There's just so much to do. But Assassin's Creed didn't go well. Tron, the newest Tron way back then, wasn't that great. I don't understand why they're making movies based off video games. The cut scenes in video games are so much better than the movies. Like, just the video game is one super long movie anyway that you get to participate in. So it's like, why? In such an old game too, where it's just monsters battling it out, like, you know, and we're not going to get that until like the end of the movie anyway, like the last 30 minutes. So it's like, I don't understand. So I can't buy it. I won't buy it. Video game movies don't work for me. So I can't buy this. I can't buy this one. I'll sell it quick, fast, and hurry. So.
And you're going to be very upset when you find out that they're making Call of Duty into a movie.
Oh my
franchise also, I think.
That's fantastic.
I don't even know how they're working out. I just heard about that yesterday.
It's just, I don't know. But I sell this Rampage trailer.
I don't know if I buy or sell it. You know what? I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna keep my receipt, and I may return it before 4/20.
Right.
And get my money back.
You're like, no, not feeling it.
But our next trailer is A Quiet Place. Paramount Pictures has released the new trailer for their upcoming horror film from director and star John Krasinski. Yeah. The film stars Krasinski and Emily Blunt and revolves around a family who lives in silence in the woods, avoiding mysterious creatures that are hypersensitive to sound. The film is set to hit theaters on April 6th.
I saw the trailer for this, and of course I love John Krasinski. The Office, we all know he was Jim. And then his wife Emily Blunt are going to be in it, and it's interesting. I'm gonna buy it. Just because the concept is interesting. A horror movie that is based totally on silence and sign language. I think it's very interesting. Like I said, I'll buy it because I want to see how it plays out. I'm not big into horror, but something like this, it seems different. And seeing John Krasinski direct and star in it, I want to see what he's got.
Yeah.
Because I really haven't seen anything else of his other than The Office, and I believe it's complicated. So, and that, I mean, he just had a minor role in that. But I'm interested to see how this plays out. So, I buy it.
Gotcha. Well, okay, so I'm going to do two things here. I buy the trailer, but I'm going to sell the movie itself. Because, like, the trailer was good, like you said. It starts off in, like, complete and utter silence, and for a minute I thought, are my headphones working? Did I plug them in? And then they, like, it continues going, and it is until the end, till I actually hear the sound, and I'm just like, oh, okay, so this is how they're playing it. So I was like, this is interesting. I like the fact that it does deal with silence. But when I watched the trailer, I didn't know the premise until I just read it right now. And I thought, my initial thought when I ended the trailer, I was like, this is interesting. I thought what was hunting them was like some kind of government agency or something. Maybe I'm just really into those movies where like the government. I was watching The Handmaid's Tale, which is why I was thinking it's probably like some kind of government agency that's after them. Because it looks like they're going through cities. And I was just like, oh, so they're living on the outskirts of what should be their town. So I was thinking, this is probably like some apocalyptic movie. And I was like, yeah, I buy the apocalyptic angle. But then I found out that it's a horror film from Paramount. And I'm just like, there is a chance that Paramount is wanting to do a little Blumhouse. Dabbling into the horror thing, you know, dropping like I don't know, $2,000 on a movie or $2 million on a movie and making 3 times that amount. So I was like, don't do that, Paramount, because they might be I feel like Paramount might be doing it wrong to where they're like they're gonna drop more money than they should on this like low budget movie and not make their returns in the end. And Paramount, I know, is very, very desperate because it doesn't have a lot of like bankable properties. And if it does, it's losing money. Like the Transformers are losing money every year. So they don't have a lot to go on. So again, I buy this trailer, but I sell this movie. I may see it if it piques my interest, but odds are not, because I'm not the biggest horror fan.
Yeah.
So.
It's understandable.
But our next one is Ready Player One. So Warner Brothers and Amblin Entertainment, which is Steven Spielberg's company, if I'm correct, have released a new trailer for Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One, starring Ty Sheridan, Lita Wright, Ben Mendelsohn, Simon Pegg, and T.J. Miller. When the creator of the virtual reality world called the Oasis dies, he releases a video in which he challenges all Oasis users to find his Easter egg, which will give the finder his fortune. Wade Watts finds the first clue and starts the race for the egg. What are you thinking?
What am I thinking? I watched the trailer. It seems like it'll be a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of depth, character, and all that, probably not. It just looks like a CGI 80s mashup extravaganza. Yeah, I literally just raspberried on that. So, for me, if I'm in the mood to go see a fun movie, like I'm just absolutely not doing anything, I guess. But, I'm going to sell it and play it safe. I know Steven Spielberg is behind the wheel on this, being that everything in that book that it's based off of is based on his work. But it's just not something that's like piquing my interest. So I'm good. Like I said, I'm going to have to sell this one and set it aside and let someone else buy it, which
I will.
There you go.
I will be buying this movie. Like, I will be pouring all my tuition into this movie because I am very excited for this movie. I've read the book. I'm almost done with it. But I'm really excited for this just because, you know, it's Steven Spielberg. And, like, I really am intrigued on how, like, I was angry when I watched the very first trailer at Comic-Con. The Comic-Con trailer that dropped earlier last year. I was upset. And that was because when I saw it, I was like, this isn't how the Oasis looks. This is nothing like the book. And then it took me a while to, like, get the whole, like, fan out of me and put, like, and bring out the film fan in me, like, the book fan aside from the film fan, and be like, okay, this isn't your vision. This is Steven Spielberg's vision on how, when he read the book, this is how he saw it. So I was like, okay, I can open my mind to this. And then after they started dropping those trailers with the 80s music, I am so buying the soundtrack though. Like with all the 80s music, the Iron Giant, all the 80s references jabbed in there, they're going to be thrown at you at 1,000,000 miles per second, and we're not going to be able to see them all. But I'm super pumped for this movie. I'm excited to see. I want to know, and this is like a question that I'm going to throw to you. Do you think this could be Steven Spielberg's big comeback? Because he's had a lot of, like, really good, like, intriguing movies, like Bridge of Spies, The Post. But is this his, like, comeback to, like, summer movies? Because, like, he tried to make, I think it was the BFG, Big Friendly Giant, last year or the year before last. And it didn't do well. And no one saw it. It was, like, number 3 at the box office, and then it disappeared. Do you think that this one could bring him back into, like, box office, like, success-wise?
Judging by looks, how it looks, yes, more than likely, because this does look like a summer movie. So I think it will, but how long will it last? I don't know, because after you said that about the BFG, that might be a thing, where it just kind of, oh, it's there, and then just poof, goes away. So I think it might pull a BFG. It might on that. It just depends on, like you said, there's all these 80s references being thrown at us, but my hopes is it's not too drenched in that we lose sight of what the movie is actually about. Get it? Yes, there's 80s, a lot of 80s happening, but you lose sight of what's, you know, this story that you're trying to tell. Then then those 80s references aren't going to matter. they're just, okay, we can go watch that movie at any time. We want to watch this movie, and then all this other stuff is just kind of bonus, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because right now it just looks like fluff. I want the 80s stuff to be a bonus to the story you're trying to tell. So that's my deal with it. But like you said, box office wise, I think it'll do good for a little bit, and then we'll just kind of see how it plays out.
I mean, yeah, it's released like just as the summer season is starting to kick off, which is around spring break, if I'm not wrong. It'll release, so it'll be the beginning of that. But we're gonna move on to Zack Snyder being fired from Justice League, apparently.
Gasp.
So one of the biggest stories from last May came when it was reported that Zack Snyder was stepping away from Justice League after a family tragedy. Joss Whedon took over directing duties, and the rest is history. So, and then a veteran entertainment reporter by the name of Josh Dickley, however, recently revealed that he is now leaving the industry and his outlet Mashable, and took to Twitter for one last scoop, revealing that Snyder was reportedly fired in January or February of 2017, 3 months before news broke that he was leaving Justice League. What does this tell us?
I'm not sure. Mainly, it could be because, I'm just going to say it, I'm not a fan of his work.
Not a lot of people are.
I'm just gonna flat out say that. I'm sorry. He's done horrible things with the DC extended universe, and I'm just not here for it. And I believe that could be a reason why he was fired. Now, bringing Joss Whedon on, I don't know if that's, better or worse. I guess, we'll find out. But with that, I mean, Man of Steel was Batman versus Superman at this point is just a guilty pleasure. It was just so, no. And then Justice League, I just knew going in not to have any expectations at all, high expectations. So, I believe that could be a reason, because for the diehard DC fans, I guess he was delivering, I guess. But it's just, his work is messy, it's all over the place. That could be just Warner Brothers and how they are. I'm just not sure. It just seems that could very well be the reason why something like why this happens, because of what he does. So with these movies,
I admire this man, not as a filmmaker. Well, you know what? We're just gonna put that aside for a minute. But the family tragedy, for those who don't know, was his daughter committed suicide, and that is something very heavy. And the fact that this man still was like, no, I have to keep going. I have to keep filming this movie because I owe it to, the fans, the DC fans. He still went in with a heavy heart and went in there to do his job. But I guess maybe Warner Brothers saw, you know what, you're not putting everything you've got in this. We're going to let you go now. But so my heart kind of goes out to him just because of that.
Definitely.
But I honestly don't know what to think. If he really was fired, then why didn't they put Joss Whedon's name as director and just put Zack Snyder as something else? Why didn't they put Joss Whedon's name on the movie? If they knew this was going to eventually break, why didn't they just prevent themselves any further questioning, and would have been just you know what, Joss Whedon actually directed this entire thing.
Yep.
Zack Snyder was kind of in the background.
Yep.
Executive producer, and that's it. Why? So I'm very questionable about this and how this broke, just because. But other than that, I'm kind of upset for him.
Yeah.
As a family man, and as him losing his daughter and everything.
Yeah,
and then losing his job too. That's just a double hitter right there. But I mean, hopefully this could lead for better things for the DCEU. But who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. Still, other things are to be done with, Flashpoint that they're thinking about making, the Aquaman coming soon. But, only time will tell if this was a good decision or a bad decision.
Yep.
But we're going to move on to the Paddington director, Paul King, is in talks for the Willy Wonka remake. THR, for those who don't know, it's the Hollywood Reporter, and it reports that Paul King, the director of the 2 acclaimed Paddington movies, is in final negotiations to direct Willy Wonka, a reimagining of, I can't pronounce that man's name. Roald Dahl's classic children's book, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, that's being developed at Warner Brothers. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts? Well, I read a little more, and it said that it's an origin movie about Willy Wonka, where he first goes and finds the Oompa Loompas and I guess brings them to the factory or whatever, and it's said to star Ryan Gosling as the lead character, Willy Wonka. So my thoughts on this are, this doesn't need to happen, again, because we're digging into stuff that no one asked for. And again, unnecessary origin movies. And something like this, I mean, it was already explained in both Willy Wonka movies. The first one with Gene Wilder and then Johnny Depp, Tim Burton's. That, and there was even a scene where he went to the island, got him, and talked, negotiated with him, and brought him to. So, like, why do we need this whole this movie? I mean, I feel like this director's talents could be used somewhere else as well as Ryan Gosling's talents. I think Warner Brothers is really digging for stuff right now, and it's really frustrating because there's so much more that they could be focusing on and doing, like fixing this mess of the DC universe, and it was just frustrating to watch unfold. But that's my thoughts on the situation.
Mine are going to be a little similar to yours, just because I'm a big fan of the Gene Wilder one. The Johnny Depp one is garbage. No offense to Johnny Depp. It was a good movie, but the best one to watch and pig out with all kinds of candy and food, which if you have not done, it's like something to do. That Willy Wonka one is the best. And when I first heard that they were remaking it, I was like, no, I do not need it. I do not want it. Go away, please, like die. But then they had reports. Then this came out with Paul King, which if you have not seen Paddington, it's adorable. Like, Paddington has become now one of my favorite bears in like the animated world, followed by like Baloo and like Winnie the Pooh. Paddington is right up there with those bears. I really love that movie, and the way he was able to like tell that story of Paddington, which is also based on a book, is beautiful. So I kind of see that, maybe he could really bring this up. He could really make it something good. However, when you told me that they were going for an origin story and they were having Ryan Gosling as Willy Wonka, I was just like, no, I do not need a good-looking man to play Willy Wonka. I don't need that. And I don't need to know how he brought the Oompa Loompas. Like, that's one of the things that I'm just very, like, apprehensive. No, I don't need to know how he got them. I just want to know, like, his motivation, maybe his motivation for starting this factory, kind of, like, and how he maybe started from the ground up. Maybe that's the story I kind of want to see. But not, some young good-looking guy going to this island and picking up these men and having them work here.
Right.
Like, that's not what I want. So, very divisive. It all depends on, like, when we get a synopsis of this movie, when we get, like, full confirmation of, like, what it's about and what it's going to be focusing on. And when we get a trailer, maybe I'll open up to it. But for right now, I'm just like, no, I don't want this.
Definitely.
But
for sure.
Our final thing that we're going to talk about is Black Panther. and it's on track to be the biggest MCU's highest solo story opener ever. The THR is reporting that the box office tracking outlet NRG is now counting a possible 165 million plus opening for the 4-day President's Weekend for Black Panther. This is the same group who said Black Panther would top out 125 million, then followed their report by updating the number to 250 million a week later. So they apparently can't make up their minds. Is it gonna make 125? No. It's gonna make 150. Now it's gonna make 165.
Let's just make it even two.
Just quit it with these odd numbers. But
right.
Right now, according to a report I found this morning, it made, just with Thursday alone, made 25.5 million, beating out Deadpool's Thursday record, which was 12.7 million.
Wow.
By like a good margin, though. That's like, I just wrote the numbers down. I was like, that's some really big difference.
That's crazy. Amazing.
But I really think that this is going to crush. I really want it to.
Yes.
Just for everything that it stands for.
Mm-hmm.
I may not end up going to go see it just because I don't have the time.
Yeah.
But I may have to make the time just because it's Black Panther. It's like, it's an event. This movie is an event for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, whether you like it or not. So all those people who are trying to bring down its Rotten Tomatoes scores, and oh my God, that just like made me angry.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I just really want this to do as well as it could, especially in these times.
Mm-hmm.
We need something that kind of lifts our spirits and shows like what a black superhero can do and its powers, and that they're more than what the media portrays African Americans as. Like, these are incredible, talented people sure, it's an imaginary, it's in a make-believe part of Africa, but they are very intelligent.
Yes.
And we shouldn't just focus on the negative stuff coming out of there. We should also try to focus on the positive stuff coming out of there. But I know you have some thoughts on this.
Oh, I'm really excited. Yeah, I would have seen it last night, but all the theaters, they were full, which also made me happy. I wasn't upset about that. I was like, this is good. So I will definitely be seeing it tonight. I will be seeing it tomorrow. I will be doing as much as I can, contributing as much as I can to this opening weekend for this movie. I'm really excited to see what they've done with this. I'm hearing nothing but great things, reviews and stuff. So I'm excited. I'm just gonna keep it at that, and maybe next week when we do our review of Black Panther. I'll have more on it.
Okay. I'm going to ask you this. Do you think, we're going to play a game, over or under, will Black Panther make over or under 195 million?
This weekend?
This weekend. Like, you can take it as you will. The 3-day weekend, the 4-day President Weekend.
I'm going to do it as...
domestically, worldwide.
Domestically?
Ever.
I don't know. What was this one saying?
This one was tracking it at 165 million plus.
Domestic or worldwide?
I think it was domestic because it says for the 4-day President's Weekend, and that's only here.
Okay. Domestically, I think it'll go over 165 for the 4-day weekend. So we'll check on that. Monday? Monday.
Monday, Tuesday, I think.
Yeah, I bet it will be over. Number exactly? I don't know. Whatever. I'm just going to say it'll make over 200 million domestically President 4-day weekend.
And I just don't know. Like, I wanted, like, the reason I picked 195 million was because that's the number I was targeting it at. When the first trailer dropped, like, I was like, 195 million opening weekend, guys, let's do it. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. But then the numbers came out that it made like a quarter of it just on Thursday. So imagine what it's gonna do on today, Friday, tomorrow. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Some people have off for some reason. But it is going to crush. I really want it. I want it to make like 200 million, but 195 million.
That's where you're cutting it off?
That's where I'm cutting it off.
Okay.
I can't jump the gun to 200. Not until like maybe Monday morning.
I'm being very optimistic. So,
yes.
Yeah, but 200 million is where I'm cutting it off at, and I know it'll make it because I know this is going to be a great, fantastic movie that you should take everyone to see, and go see it yourself.
And just so you know, for our listeners out there, yes, Marvel did pay Jason to say all those words you just heard.
No, they did not. They couldn't pay me enough to say these words.
The check just cleared. That's what he's saying.
Okay, thank you, listeners, for listening to this week's podcast. We will be with you next weekend with more movie news and hopefully an awesome Black Panther review. Thank you for listening.